Hi, this is Mr. West, and today we're doing a tutorial video on halving and doubling. This is a worksheet from mathdrills.com. Make sure to check out Math Drills. They have tons of great resources. This is actually a special request video from Just Another Human. I'm not trying to make a joke. That's their username. So thank you for commenting. I think this is a great video. I'm glad you recommended it. So some tips before we start. We're going to be doing either doubling or halving of two numbers that we multiply together. And these are my tips for what makes it a little bit easier. So number one, try for 10. 10 is a great number to multiply by. Number two, try for single digits. Single digits are generally easier to multiply in your head than double digits. And then lastly, we're going to try to double odds. It's hard to take odd numbers in half because you're going to get decimals, and then halve the evens because you can always split those into two. All right, so with those three tips, we're going to approach these problems. I'm going to start with the example. You can see in this example, it decided to double the 5. And the reason why the doubling of the 5 is a good idea is because you get the number 10. Anytime you multiply by 10, you're just going to add a 0 to whatever the number you're multiplying by. So we had 16. 16 times 10, just 160. That makes it pretty simple. Now, why can we do this? Why can we multiply by 2 and divide by 2 to make these two the same? How do we know these are the same? Because if you times 2 and then divide by 2 in the same expression, so this is what we're doing, in the same expression, we're dividing by 2 and multiplying by 2, we could rewrite that as this, multiplying by 2 over 2. Well, if you multiply it by 1, which is equal to 2 over 2, it doesn't change the value, so that's 100%. Okay, so that's why it works. Now let's apply some strategy into why it's a good idea and why it makes doing these operations in your head so much easier. Let's start with number 2. So number 2, we have an odd number here, and then we have an even number. So immediately I'm thinking, okay, I can't divide this one in to 2, so I'm going to multiply this one by 2. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this by 2, and I'm going to divide the 12. I'm going to divide the 12 by 2. So when we multiply the 25 times 2, and again, I didn't divide it by 2 because I would have gotten 12.5. But if I multiply by 2, I get 50, and if I divide 12 by 2, I get 6. So now my problem is 50 times 6. And that's actually pretty simple because we can just do the 5 times the 6, and that's 30, and then just add on that 0. Place that 0 on the end, okay? So that's going to be our answer when we have 25 times 12. A little bit easier than doing 25 times 12 is 50 times 6. Let's do another example. Number 3, we're going to probably roll through almost all of them. Notice here I have 20. This one was 5, and I decided to double it. Again, 10 is a great number to have. So I'm going to actually divide this 20 by 2. So I'm going to divide the 20 by 2, and I get 10. Now it's going to be a much easier problem. I'm going to multiply this by 2, which isn't too hard. I just double the 30. That gives me 60. And then I double the 8. That gives me 16. So I get 60 plus 16. I get 76. Now I just have 76 times 10. That's super easy. Just add on the 0, 760. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do with these problems. Here we have 18 and 3. I'm not going to have the 3, obviously. So I'm going to double the 3. And there's another reason why I would double the 3, and it's because I want single-digit numbers. If I have a double-digit number, which I do here, 18 divided by 2 is 9. Now it's single-digit. And now I have two single-digit numbers, which makes it easier. 9 times 6 is 54. So that makes it a little bit easier. Let's go over here. Now, kind of like 10, I should have probably put try for 10 or 100 or 1,000. Okay, any of those multiples of 10 would be useful. So here, I'm actually going to double the 50 to get 100. Multiply by 100 is easier. And then I divide by 2, and I get 18 times 100. Well, I just write 18 and then place 2 zeros at the end, 1,800. Here I have an odd number. I need to multiply this one by 2. I need to divide this one by 2, so I have 82. Pretty easy to double that. Times 2, that gives me 164. I double the 80, that's 160. Double the 2, that's 4. I don't know why I wrote 160. It should be 164. There we go. All right, we're just cruising right along. We're going to get through all these examples. By the way, this is the harder version. There's also an easier version. If you want to check out that before getting to this harder version, this is the hard version. So we have 4 times 24. We have a couple options here. I could divide by 2, so we're multiplying by 2. That's actually a pretty good strategy. Or I could multiply this by 2 and get 8. And then I would have 12 times 8. So if you know your 12 tables, that's pretty good. But this is kind of one where you can't go wrong either way. I'm actually going to divide this by 2, though, and then I'm going to multiply this one. I don't like writing the x. So I'm going to multiply this one by 2. So I get 2 times 48. That's how I want to rewrite this one. And again, it's not wrong to do it a different way. There's lots of options with this one. Okay, so just to show you, it would be 8 times 12, which also equals 96 if you did it that way. Both are the same thing. All three of those are equal. All right, so we have an odd number, so I already know I need to multiply by 2, and then I'm going to divide this one by 2. So I have 70 times 7. At first glance, it looks kind of hard, but it's really not. I just multiply the 7 times the 7, I get 49. Place the extra 0 because there's a 0 there, 490. Almost done. 2 more. I'm going to divide this by 2. I want one-digit numbers, single-digit numbers, if possible, and multiply this one by 2. So I get 9 times 12. That's another one that is a multiple of 12, and I get 108 for that one. A little tougher to multiply the 18. You get 36 times 3, which maybe not is so easy. So probably better to do it that way. We get that single-digit number. All right, last one, 22 times 6. 22 times 6. I'm going to actually divide the 22 by 2 and multiply this one by 2. I know it's not giving me single-digit numbers, but I get 11 times 12, another multiple 12, and I get 132 as my final answer. So these tips hopefully helped you. I like this video. Thank you so much again for recommending it. If you have your own recommendation, make sure to leave a comment, and I look forward to seeing you next time right here on West Explains Best.